Hey everyone. Tonight we're diving into something that medieval Europe tried desperately to control, suppress, and punish. Women's desire. Not just sexual desire, though that was certainly policed with religious fervor, but any desire. The desire for knowledge, for freedom, for choice, for pleasure, for power, or even just for a different life than the one assigned at birth. In the Middle Ages, a woman wanting anything beyond submission was basically committing treason against God, nature, and society. So before we begin this journey into medieval female suppression, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy these historical deep dives. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim those lights, get comfortable, and let's explore why wanting anything as a medieval woman was essentially a criminal act. Congratulations! You've just been born in medieval Europe, and you have the misfortune of being female. From the moment you take your first breath, which might also be your last since infant mortality is roughly 50%, your life is already mapped out. You don't get to want things. Things are decided for you. Your father, if he bothers to acknowledge you exist, rather than waiting for a son, owns you like livestock. Your future husband, chosen when you're still learning to walk, will own you next. The church owns your soul, your Lord owns your labor, and society owns your body. Your property with a pulse, and property doesn't have desires. It has duties. Your first desire might be for food, but if you're a girl, you eat last. Your brothers get the meat, if there is any. You get the scraps. Wanting more isn't just selfish, it's unnatural. Girls who eat too much are gluttonous. Gluttony is a sin. Sins lead to hell. So you learn to swallow your hunger along with your pride. By age 5, you're already working. Not playing, working. You want to run in the fields? Too bad. You're spinning thread until your fingers bleed. You want to learn to read? That's laughable. Reading gives women ideas, and ideas give them desires, and desires make them dangerous. Your mother, beaten down by decades of submission, teaches you the most important lesson of medieval womanhood. Want nothing, expect less, and maybe you'll survive. She shows you how to keep your eyes down, your voice soft, and your opinions non-existent. She's not being cruel. She's trying to save your life. Because in medieval Europe, a woman with desires is a woman marked for punishment. You watch your mother work herself into early arthritis, early grey hair, an early grave. She wanted things once, too. Maybe she wanted to choose her husband. Maybe she wanted to space out her pregnancies. Maybe she wanted to not die at 35 from her 14th childbirth. But wanting got her nowhere except bruised, pregnant, and bitter. The church makes sure you understand your place in God's perfect hierarchy. Every Sunday, you sit through sermons about Eve, the original sinner who desired knowledge and doomed humanity. The priest, who can barely read Latin himself, explains that women are naturally weak, naturally sinful, naturally prone to dangerous desires. Your very existence is a temptation, a walking invitation to sin. Your body, which you didn't choose, is somehow both sacred vessel and satanic trap. You must be pure, but also breed constantly. You must be modest, but also available to your husband. You must desire nothing, but also desire children. The contradictions are dizzying, but questioning them is heresy. So you sit on that hard wooden bench, listening to how your desires are, why crops fail, why babies die, why plague spreads. Everything wrong in the world stems from women wanting things they shouldn't have. Knowledge, power, choice, pleasure. Eve wanted the apple. Look where that got everyone. By 12, sometimes even younger. You're considered marriageable. Not because you're ready, but because you can bear children. Your opinion on your future husband matters about as much as a sheep's opinion on its shearer. Maybe you dream of the baker's son who smiles at you in the market. Too bad. Your father needs an alliance with the tanner, whose son has a cruel laugh and wandering eyes. You're traded like livestock. Your worth measured in your purity, your dowry, and the width of your hips. The marriage contract is discussed by men while you stand silent in the corner, wearing your finest dress to prove you're worth the bargain. Your desires aren't just ignored, they're offensive. How dare you want love? How dare you hope for kindness? Marriage isn't about happiness. It's about property, power, and survival. And your feelings? They matter less than the chickens that come with your dowry. Your wedding night arrives, the moment that seals your fate. In this world, consent isn't a concept people recognize. A young girl becomes a wife not through choice, but through expectation and law. You hope for gentleness, for patience, for kindness. But such wishes carry no weight here. The teachings of the time insist that obedience is sacred, that a husband's authority is divine. Your voice fades beneath centuries of doctrine and custom. The ceremony that follows isn't love. It's a ritual of control, a moment that declares ownership. You learn early that silence is safety and endurance is survival. When the morning comes, your pain becomes proof of purity, proof of duty fulfilled. And in that proof, society finds its comfort. Your suffering becomes a symbol, and your silence, the price of acceptance. Morning comes, and with it, your new life as a wife, which is just slavery with a different name. You want to rest after your traumatic wedding night? Too bad. There's bread to bake, clothes to mend, animals to feed, and a household to run. Your husband expects hot meals, clean clothes, and silent obedience. You're wanting anything else, like rest, like healing, like a moment to process what's happened to you, is selfishness. Selfish wives get beaten. The church sanctions it. The law allows it. Your neighbors expect it. A man who doesn't beat his wife is weak. A wife who needs beating is normal. You learn quickly which desires earn bruises. Wanting to eat before serving everyone else, that's a backhand. Wanting to speak when men are talking, that's a closed fist. Wanting to refuse sex while you're still torn from the last time, that's a beating that leaves you unable to walk. Every want is weighed against its potential punishment. Pregnancy comes quickly because your husband exercises his rights nightly. You're 13, maybe 14, your pelvis not fully formed, your body not ready. But ready doesn't matter. You want to wait, to grow, to heal? Your wants are whispers drowned out by duty. You're pregnant, nauseous, exhausted, but the work doesn't stop. If anything, it increases. You're carrying the heir, hopefully a son, because daughters are disappointments that require dowries. You want to rest your swollen feet? Too bad. The harvest waits for no one. You want to eat something other than moldy bread and watery pottage? Your husband eats the meat. The baby needs what little nutrition you get, and you get whatever's left. Your desires shrink to basic survival. You want to not die in childbirth. You want the baby to not kill you coming out. You want to survive long enough to maybe see spring. These aren't even desires anymore. They're desperate prayers whispered into indifferent darkness. Labor begins, and with it, the very real possibility of death. You want something for the pain? Herbs that might ease the agony? The church says no. Pain in childbirth is Eve's curse, God's punishment for female desire. To want relief is to defy God's will. So you scream into leather straps while your body tears itself apart. The midwife, if you're lucky enough to have one, has dirty hands and superstitious remedies. She might spread your legs and declare the baby is breech. The solutions are horrifying. Manual turning that could rupture your womb. Hooks to pull the baby out in pieces. Prayer and pressure until something gives. Usually your life. You want to survive? That's not your choice. God decides, your husband prays for the heir, and you bleed on straw that hasn't been changed since the last woman died here. If you survive, you want to rest? Too bad. You have a baby to feed, a house to maintain, a husband to service. Your body hasn't even stopped bleeding, but he wants another heir. Backup children, in case this one dies. You might want to space your pregnancies to let your body recover. But birth control is witchcraft, and witchcraft is death. The rhythm method doesn't work when you don't understand rhythm. Withdrawal requires your husband's cooperation, and he doesn't care if you die from your 20th pregnancy, as long as you produce sons first. So you get pregnant again and again and again. Each time your body breaks a little more. Your teeth fall out from calcium loss. Your bones ache from nutrients stolen by fetuses. Your vagina never properly heals before it's torn open again. You want this to stop? You want your body to belong to you for just 1 year. That desire is heresy. Your body is God's vessel for creating life. Your husband's property for creating heirs. Never yours. Never, ever yours. You might dream of drinking pennyroyal tea, of visiting the old woman who knows which herbs stop babies from taking root. But that desire could get you burned at the stake. So you swallow it down with all your other wants and spread your legs for another pregnancy that might finally kill you. Maybe you want something as simple as walking alone. Just a walk to clear your head, to escape the smoke-filled hovel where you cook and clean and breed. But women don't walk alone. Alone means available. Available means whore. Whore means stocks, public humiliation, or worse. You must always be accompanied, supervised, controlled. Your movement is suspicious. Where are you going? Why? What desires are you hiding? A woman in motion is a woman with wants, and wants lead to sin. So you stay put, trapped in the same four walls, the same tiny plot of land, the same suffocating life. You see the same faces, have the same conversations, perform the same tasks, until your mind starts to fray at the edges. You want variety? Adventure? Even just a different view? These are male privileges. Your world is deliberately small, deliberately confined, deliberately limiting. The smaller your world, the smaller your desires. The smaller your desires, the easier you are to control. Let's say you're one of the rare women who learns to read, usually because you're noble or headed for a nunnery. You want to read something other than religious texts. Dangerous desire. Books give women ideas. Ideas about other lands where women have rights. Ideas about love that isn't violent. Ideas about bodies that aren't constantly pregnant. ideas about lives that aren't predetermined suffering. The church burns books that might corrupt female virtue, which is basically anything that suggests women are human beings with valid desires. You might secretly read romance poems, hiding them like contraband. The stories of courtly love, where women are admired, pursued, valued, where their desires matter, where saying no is respected. These fantasies are considered more dangerous than weapons. A sword can only kill a body. An idea can kill the entire social order. So you hide your books, hide your reading, hide the fact that you want something more than breeding and dying. Physical desire is the ultimate crime. You're supposed to be pure, sexless, a vessel for your husband's seed, but never, ever a participant. Wanting sex is whoredom. Enjoying sex is witchcraft. Having opinions about sex is grounds for annulment, or worse. Your husband can be as rough, as quick, as selfish as he wants. You must lie there, silent and still. Any movement might be interpreted as enthusiasm, and enthusiasm means you're lustful. And lustful women are dangerous. They might seek satisfaction elsewhere. They might corrupt other women. They might even enjoy their bodies. And a woman who enjoys her body is practically demonic. You learn to perform deadness, eyes closed, body limp, breath held. The less you respond, the quicker it ends. But sometimes, despite everything, your body betrays you. A gasp, a shiver, an involuntary movement. Your husband either beats you for being a whore or brags to his friends that he married a lusty wench. Either way, your desire becomes your shame. What if you desire another woman? That's not even supposed to be possible in medieval minds. Women are incomplete men, according to the science of the day. How can two incomplete beings desire each other? But you do. You watch The Baker's Daughter and feel things you're not supposed to feel. Want things you're not supposed to want. This desire is so forbidden, it doesn't even have a proper name. It's the sin that dare not speak, the crime against nature, the abomination that could get you burned alive. So you bury it deeper than all your other ones. You marry who you're told, birth who you must, and die with that desire rotting inside you like a secret cancer. Maybe you touch her hand while buying bread and live on that sensation for years. Maybe you share a glance that says everything and nothing. Maybe you never act on it at all. Just carry it like a stone in your chest until they bury you with it. Economic desire is equally criminal. You want to own property. Women can't own property. They are property. You want to run a business, only as a widow, and only until a male relative claims it. You want to keep the money you earn from spinning or brewing. That belongs to your husband. You want fair wages for your labor. You're lucky to be allowed to work at all. Your economic desires are jokes. You watch men with half your skill earn triple your wages. You watch your careful accounting dismissed because women can't understand numbers. You watch your innovations credited to the nearest man. You want recognition, credit, ownership. These are male territories. Your desire for economic independence is more threatening than any physical rebellion. A woman with money might buy choices. Choices lead to desires. Desires lead to revolution. So you're kept poor, dependent, trapped in economic servitude that ensures you can never afford to want anything beyond survival. Spiritual desire is perhaps the most complex crime. You want a direct relationship with God? Too bad. You need male intermediaries. Priests who don't speak your language, interpret scriptures, You're not allowed to read. You want to understand the sermons? Learn Latin. Oh, wait. Women shouldn't learn Latin because it might give them access to knowledge. You want to express your faith in ways that feel meaningful? The Church has prescribed exactly how you may worship, when, where, and through whom. Any deviation is heresy. You might feel God differently, experience divine connection through nature, or meditation, or your own prayers. But these desires for authentic spirituality are dangerous. They bypass male authority. They suggest women can access the divine directly. They imply that maybe, just maybe, women have souls equal to men's. This is revolutionary thinking that could topple the entire religious hierarchy. So, you mouth the Latin you don't understand. Kneel when told, and keep your spiritual desires as quiet as your physical ones. Some women become anchoresses, literally walled into tiny cells attached to churches, choosing living burial over marriage. This is somehow considered holy rather than insane. Think about that. Women desire freedom so desperately that being bricked into a room until death seems preferable to normal life. These women are revered for their sacrifice, but what they're really doing is choosing the only form of autonomy available. In that cell, no husband can rape them. No children can kill them. No lord can command them. Their desire for independence is so strong, they choose living death to achieve it. They spend decades in spaces smaller than modern prison cells, seeing sunlight through a single window, eating bread pushed through a slot. And this is considered the holy option. The fact that women voluntarily choose this over regular medieval life tells you everything about how criminalized female desire really was. You want to refuse motherhood entirely? That's not just crime, it's sin against nature. Women who don't want children are unnatural, broken, probably possessed. Your body was designed by God to create life. Refusing that purpose is refusing God's will. But pregnancy kills you, slowly or quickly, but it kills you. You watch woman after woman die screaming in childbirth. You watch survivors aged decades in years. You watch children orphaned by their own births. And you want to opt out? That desire makes you a monster. The Church says barren women are cursed. Fertile women who refuse pregnancy are worse than cursed. They're evil. You might try to fake infertility, claim your womb is closed, pray for barrenness, like other women pray for sons. But if they discover you're preventing pregnancy through herbs or positions or timing, you're a witch, and witches burn. So you submit to pregnancy after pregnancy, each one a death sentence you're not allowed to refuse. Let's talk about wanting justice. Your husband beats you unconscious? That's his right. Your lord rapes you? That's his privilege. Your priest gropes you during confession? That's your word against God's representative. You want recourse? Justice? Protection? These desires are laughable. The law explicitly allows men to discipline their wives. The only illegal beating is one that kills you, and, even then, he might claim you are disobedient and face no consequences. Rape doesn't exist within marriage, and barely exists outside it. You'd need multiple male witnesses to prove rape, and even then, the question would be what you did to invite it. Your desire for justice is more offensive than the crimes against you. It suggests you matter. It implies you have rights. It declares you human. These are revolutionary desires that threaten the entire social structure. So you swallow the blood from your split lip and tell neighbors you fell. Again The desire for education is treated like wanting weapons. Knowledge is power, and power in female hands is terrifying to medieval men. You want to learn mathematics? Why? To cheat your husband. You want to study philosophy? To question authority? You want to read history? To learn about women who fought back? Every field of knowledge is gatekept by men who understand that educated women are dangerous women. They might realize that their oppression isn't natural or divinely ordained. They might learn about societies where women own property, run businesses, choose partners. They might start wanting things they don't even have words for yet. So you're kept ignorant, told your brain is too small, too weak, too emotional for learning. The few women who do get educated are seen as unnatural, masculine, threatening. They often end up in convents or burned as witches because educated women don't fit anywhere in medieval society. You want to choose your own clothes? Even that's regulated. Sumptuary laws dictate exactly what you can wear based on class and marital status. Wearing above your station is illegal. Wearing below it is suspicious. Colors have meanings. Fabrics have implications. Your desire to dress yourself is another form of rebellion. Bright colors might mean you're advertising sexuality. Dark colors might mean you're hiding something. New clothes mean you're vain. Old clothes mean you're neglecting your husband's honor. Every choice is wrong, because the choice itself is wrong. You're not supposed to choose. You're supposed to accept. Your husband or father decides what you wear, when, and why. Your body is dressed like a doll, decorated to reflect their status, not your personality. You might want to wear comfortable clothes that let you work without restriction. Too bad. Your discomfort is proof of submission. The desire for friendship is monitored and restricted. Female friendships are dangerous. Women talking without supervision might share remedies for preventing pregnancy. They might discuss their husband's weaknesses. They might realize their suffering isn't unique or necessary. They might organize. So your friendships are controlled, chaperoned, limited. You meet other women at church, at market, at wells, but always under watchful eyes. Your conversations are about acceptable topics: children, cooking, God. Never about desires, dreams, or discontent. You want a friend who understands your pain, who shares your secrets, who validates your anger. These connections are systematically prevented. Isolated women are controllable women. Your loneliness isn't accidental, it's strategic. The only acceptable female bonds are competitive ones. Who has more sons? Whose husband is more powerful? Whose piety is most visible? Real friendship, based on mutual support and shared desire for change, is revolutionary, and therefore criminal. You want to travel? See the world beyond your village? That's not just impractical, it's immoral. Women who travel are either pilgrims or prostitutes, and the line between them is thin in medieval minds. Pilgrimage is the only acceptable reason for female travel, and even then, you need permission, protection, and purpose. You can't just want to see Jerusalem. You need sins that require that level of penance. Regular travel is impossible. The roads are dangerous, but that's not why you're forbidden. You're forbidden because travel expands minds. You might see women in other places living differently. You might realize your oppression is local, not universal. You might develop desires for freedoms you didn't know existed. So you stay put. Your world shrinking to the same few miles, the same few faces, the same few possibilities. Your desire to explore is caged by geography that's more social than physical. Physical beauty becomes a crime, whether you want it or not. If you're beautiful, you're tempting men to sin. Your desire to be clean, to smell nice, to look pleasant is vanity, and vanity is sin. But if you're ugly, you're failing your duty to please your husband. You can't win because the game is rigged against you. You might want to wash your hair, but that's suspicious. Clean women are trying to attract attention. You might want to leave it dirty, but that's lazy. Unkempt women are neglecting their duties. Your appearance is constantly policed, criticized, and punished. Too much effort means you're a whore. Too little means you're a slob. Your desire to just exist in your body without judgment is impossible. Your body is public property, subject to constant evaluation and correction. You learn to aim for invisible, unremarkable, forgettable. The less noticeable you are, the less your desires matter. You want to eat well? Food is political, and your desires are at the bottom of the hierarchy. Men eat first, most and best. Children, if they're male, eat second. You eat last, least and worst. Your hunger is normal, expected, virtuous even. Fasting makes you holy. Starvation makes you pure. Your desire for meat, for freshness, for variety, for enough. These are greedy desires. Gluttonous, sinful. You watch your husband devour entire chickens while you gnaw bones. You watch your sons grow strong on milk while you water yours down. You watch food rot in storage while you're told there's not enough for you. Your nutritional deficiencies are considered female weakness. Your constant hunger is considered appropriate. You might dream of a full stomach, of tasting spices, of eating until satisfied. But satisfaction itself is a masculine privilege. Your desire is supposed to be for everyone else to eat. Their fullness should fulfill you. What about desiring creative expression? You want to paint? Women don't create art. They create babies. You want to write? Women's words are gossip or witchcraft. Nothing in between. You want to compose music? Women's voices should be silent or hymnal, never original. Your creative desires are seen as mental illness. Why would you want to create something that isn't human life? What's wrong with your womb that you seek other forms of production? The few women who do create are anonymous, their work attributed to men or God. You might embroider stories into cloth, the only acceptable female art, because it's useful. You might compose songs while spinning, but never write them down. You might create recipes, remedies, innovations that improve life, but they'll never bear your name. Your desire for creative legacy is erased before it's even expressed. The desire for respect is perhaps the most forbidden of all. You want your opinions valued, your experience acknowledged, your wisdom recognized. These desires fundamentally challenge the medieval worldview where women are inferior by divine design. Wanting respect means believing you deserve it, and deserving respect means you're equal. And equality is heresy. You might be the best brewer in 3 villages, but your husband owns the brewery. You might be the most skilled healer, but the male physician who's never delivered a baby outranks you. You might run the entire household economy, but you can't sign your own name to contracts. Your expertise is invisible, your labor uncredited, Your intelligence denied. You want acknowledgement? That's pride, the deadliest sin. You want gratitude? That's expecting payment for duty. You want basic human dignity? That's rebellion against God's hierarchy. Let's say you're widowed. Suddenly, for the first time, you might own something. Your dead husband's property becomes yours temporarily. You can run his business, make decisions, sign contracts. You taste freedom and find it intoxicating. But this makes you dangerous. A widow with property is a woman with choices, and choices mean desires can be acted upon. So everyone pressures you to remarry immediately. Your former in-laws want the property back. The guild wants male leadership. The church wants you under control. Other men want your assets. Your brief window of autonomy is seen as unnatural, a loophole that needs closing. You might want to stay single, to run your own life, to make your own choices. But that desire makes you a target. Too young, and you're wasting breeding years. Too old, and you're probably a witch. Too successful, and you're definitely a witch. Your desire for independence after tasting it is the most dangerous desire of all. Sexual assault creates a twisted paradox of desire and blame. When you're raped, which is statistically likely, the question isn't what you wanted, but what you desired. Did you secretly want it? Did you encourage it? Did your body respond? Your trauma is interrogated for signs of desire. If you fought, why didn't you fight harder? If you didn't fight, you must have wanted it. If you report it, you're ruining a man's reputation. If you don't report it, it becomes consent through silence. Your desire to be believed, to be protected, to be avenged, these are all impossible. The system is designed to protect male desire to access female bodies, not female desire for bodily autonomy. You learn to prevent rather than report. Don't walk alone. Don't make eye contact. Don't exist in ways that might be interpreted as invitation. Your desire for safety becomes a prison of precautions that still won't save you. Religious ecstasy becomes suspect when experienced by women. Male saints have visions and speak with God. Female mystics who claim the same are investigated for heresy or hysteria. Your desire for direct divine connection bypasses male religious authority, and that can't be allowed. You might genuinely experience religious rapture, feel God's presence, receive divine messages. But expressing these experiences is dangerous. Too emotional, and you're hysterical. Too specific, and you're lying. Too accurate, and you're in league with devils. The only acceptable female religious experience is silent suffering. Your desire for spiritual transcendence is filtered through male interpretation until it's unrecognizable. They tell you what God wants from you: submission, childbearing, silence. When you suggest God might want something else, you're challenging not just church authority, but divine order itself. You want to die peacefully? Even that's complicated. Suicide is the ultimate sin, but your life is such suffering that death seems like mercy. You can't actively end your life, but you can passively invite death. Refuse food during pregnancy, work through illness, ignore infections. These aren't considered suicide. They're considered female weakness. Your desire for death is the only desire that might actually be granted, because dead women can't want things. But even dying requires permission. You need last rites, proper burial, your death serving as moral lesson for other women. You can't just die. You must die correctly. Your final desire, for release from suffering, is regulated like everything else. The church decides if your death was holy or sinful. Your husband decides if you deserve mourning. Society decides if you lived and died appropriately. The tragedy isn't just that female desire was criminalized. It's that women internalized this criminalization. Mothers taught daughters that wanting was dangerous. Older women policed younger women's desires more harshly than men did. The system perpetuated itself through generations of women who learned to see their own desires as sins. You might hate your mother for crushing your spirit, not understanding she's trying to save your life. You might become that same mother, destroying your daughter's desires before the world can punish her for having them. The cycle continues because breaking it requires wanting change, and wanting change is the ultimate crime. You participate in your own oppression because the alternative is death, literal or social. You become enforcer of the very system that crushes you. Consider the medieval virgin martyrs, held up as feminine ideals. Young women who chose death over sex, torture over marriage, martyrdom over motherhood. These are the female role models, women whose primary desire was to have no desires. They're celebrated for refusing life itself rather than accepting female existence. The message is clear. The only good woman is one who wants nothing, not even survival. These stories are told to girls as inspiration. Be like St. Agnes, who chose death at 13 rather than marriage. Be like St. Lucy, who gouged out her own eyes rather than be desired. Be like St. Christina, who endured torture rather than worship false gods or true men. The highest female virtue is self-annihilation. Your desire to live, to experience, to enjoy. These are all failures of faith. The few women who wielded power did so by denying traditional female desires. Queens who ruled emphasized their virginity or widowhood. Abbesses who controlled vast estates took vows of poverty and chastity. Female merchants succeeded by becoming honorary men, desexualized and defeminized. To have power, you must publicly renounce desire. You must perform sexlessness, childlessness, joylessness. Any sign of want, need, or pleasure destroys your authority. You watch these powerful women and think they've escaped the cage, not realizing they've simply built themselves smaller cages with golden bars. Their power exists only as long as they desire nothing womanly. The moment they want love, children, pleasure, or comfort, they lose everything. Even female power requires female desire to be criminal. You might think noble women had it better, but their desires were simply more expensive crimes. A noble woman wanting to choose her husband was starting wars. Wanting to refuse marriage was destroying alliances. Wanting to control her dowry was threatening economic systems. The higher your class, the more political your desires became. A peasant woman wanting bread was selfish. A noble woman wanting autonomy was treasonous. Your desires could topple kingdoms, so they must be crushed even more thoroughly. You're dressed in silk, but it's still a shroud. You're fed delicacies, but you still eat last. You're educated, but only enough to be ornamental. Your cage is gilded, but it's smaller because more people are watching. Every desire is scrutinized for political implications. Want the wrong thing, and you're not just ruining your life. You're disrupting international relations. The Renaissance is coming, they say, bringing humanism and enlightenment. But for women, it brings new ways to criminalize desire. Witchcraft trials will intensify. Medical theories about wandering wombs and female hysteria will scientifically justify oppression. Protestant reforms will sometimes make things worse, removing the convent escape route and emphasizing wifely submission. The Enlightenment will debate whether women have souls capable of reason. The Industrial Revolution will create new forms of economic exploitation. Each era will find innovative ways to make female desire criminal. The methods will evolve, become subtler, wrapped in science or psychology rather than theology. But the core principle remains. Women wanting things threatens civilization. Your medieval suffering isn't primitive. It's foundational to systems that persist for centuries. Let me tell you about the economics of desire, because everything has a price, especially wanting things while female. Your father paid a dowry to offload you. Your husband paid the church to marry you. The midwife gets paid to deliver you. The priest gets paid to purify you after childbirth. The physician, who won't touch you because female bodies are mysterious and disgusting, still gets paid to diagnose your wandering womb. Everyone profits from your body except you. You produce children, labor, textiles, food, but own none of it. Your desires are criminalized, but your production is essential. The economy runs on female labor, while denying female economic desire. You spin thread that becomes cloth, that becomes wealth you'll never touch. You brew ale that men sell. You grow herbs that physicians claim to have discovered. Your desire for economic participation is criminal, but your economic exploitation is mandatory. What about desiring solitude? Just wanting to be alone with your thoughts? That's suspicious behavior. Women alone are plotting something. Solitude suggests contemplation, and contemplation leads to questioning, and questioning leads to rebellion. You're never alone. From birth to death, you're supervised. As a child, by parents. As a wife, by husband. As a widow, by society. Even in the privy, someone might be waiting outside. Your thoughts are never private, because privacy enables desire. You might realize you want things, you might plan to get them, you might discover you have an internal life independent of your roles. Solitude is where desire grows, so you're kept in constant company, always watched, always monitored, always prevented from developing dangerous independence. Your mind is never truly yours, because alone time might let you claim it. The desire for basic bodily autonomy is revolutionary. You want to decide when you sleep? Your husband decides. When you eat? After everyone else. When you bathe? Rarely, and never for pleasure. Your body's schedule is determined by others' needs. You wake when the baby cries. You sleep when the work is done. You eat when others are fed. You rest when you're dying. Your circadian rhythm is disrupted by constant pregnancy and nighttime feedings. Your digestion is destroyed by poor food and constant stress. Your muscles ache from labor that never ends. But wanting rest is laziness. Wanting regular meals is greed. Wanting basic physical comfort is weakness. Your body exists to serve others, and serving yourself is the ultimate crime. Even your pain belongs to others. Labor pains belong to God. Beating bruises belong to your husband. Your suffering is their property. Let's talk about anger, because anger is desire's violent sister. You want justice, and when it's denied, you feel rage. But female anger is madness. Male anger is righteous. Female anger is hysteria. He beats you in anger. That's discipline. You raise your voice in anger. That's insanity. Your anger is more dangerous than his violence, because your anger suggests his violence is wrong. And if his violence is wrong, the entire system is wrong. So your anger must be pathologized, demonized, medicalized. You're not angry. You're hysterical. Your womb is wandering. Your humors are imbalanced. You need bleeding, purging, or exorcism. Anything but acknowledgement that your anger is justified. They'll drill holes in your skull before admitting you have reasons to rage. Your desire for rage is the most criminal, because rage demands change. You want to protect your children from this same fate? That maternal desire is weaponized against you. You must train your daughters to have no desires, or you've failed as a mother. You must crush their spirits before the world does it more cruelly. You must teach them to smile while bleeding, submit while screaming internally, accept while dying inside. Your desire to protect them requires destroying them gently before society destroys them violently. You watch your daughter's brightness dim as you teach her to be invisible. You hear her questions fade as you teach her silence. You see her dreams die as you teach her reality. Your maternal desire to save her requires murdering who she might have been. This is love in medieval times. Traumatizing your children to prepare them for trauma. What if you're infertile? Your inability to fulfill the one acceptable female desire, bearing children, makes you worse than criminal. You're cursed. Your barren womb is God's judgment on some secret sin. Maybe you desired something you shouldn't have. Maybe you enjoyed sex too much or not enough. Maybe you had opinions. Your infertility is definitely your fault and possibly witchcraft. Your husband can annul the marriage because you're defective merchandise. The church suggests pilgrimages to fertility shrines. The midwife sells you potions that might be poison. Everyone has opinions about your broken body. You internalize the failure. You actually want children now, desperately, because it's the only desire you're allowed. But your body refuses. The one thing you're supposed to want, you can't have. The irony is excruciating. You're criminalized for desires you do have, and punished for the one you don't achieve. The seasons bring different crimes of desire. In spring, you want freshness after winter's rot. Fresh food, fresh air, fresh starts. But spring is planting season, and wanting anything beyond survival through next winter is frivolous. Summer brings desires for coolness, for rest from the blazing sun, for water that isn't contaminated. But summer is harvest season, and your wants are buried under grain that isn't yours. Autumn might let you want preservation, storing enough food for your family. But the Lord takes his share, the church takes its tithe, and you're left wanting basic sustenance. Winter brings desperate desires, warmth, light, enough food to keep milk in your breasts for the baby. But winter is when desire becomes most criminal, because resources are scarce. Your want for survival competes with everyone else's, and you lose. Let's discuss the desire for revenge. Your husband kills your children through neglect or violence. Your Lord exercises his first night rites on your wedding. Your priest molests you during confession. You want them dead, damaged, suffering as you suffer. This desire for vengeance burns like acid in your chest. But female revenge is the ultimate crime. You're supposed to forgive, forget, submit, Turn the other cheek until you have no cheeks left. Your desire for justice becomes desire for revenge when justice is impossible. You might poison slowly, small amounts that sicken but don't kill. You might curse quietly, prayers that sound holy but request damnation. You might sabotage subtly, accidents that happen to violent men. But if caught, you're not just criminal, you're evil incarnate. Female revenge proves female inferiority. You're too emotional, too vindictive, too dangerous to have any power. You want to laugh? Real laughter, not the polite titter expected at appropriate moments. Genuine joy is suspicious in women. What do you have to be happy about? Excessive laughter is hysteria. Insufficient laughter is depression. Wrong laughter is madness. Your emotional expressions are symptoms of illness rather than responses to life. You learn to perform emotions rather than feel them. Smile when expected. Cry when appropriate. Laugh when commanded. Your actual feelings are irrelevant and probably wrong. The desire for authentic emotional expression is denied because authentic emotions might include rage, despair, or worst of all, contempt for the system crushing you. Your laughter must be contained, controlled, and never at men's expense. Laughing at male authority is social suicide. Your joy must always be less than his pride. What about desiring to age naturally? Youth is currency, but age brings a different kind of criminalization. Young women are criminalized for desires. Old women are criminalized for existing. Past childbearing age, you're useless unless you're useful. You become the watcher, the enforcer, the teacher of submission. Your desires don't disappear with menopause. They just become more illegal. An old woman wanting sex is disgusting. Wanting power is witchcraft. Wanting resources is theft from the young. You're supposed to disappear gracefully, accepting invisibility as natural. But you still want things. Maybe more now, because death approaches and you've wasted your life on everyone else's needs. These final desires are the most criminal because they come from women who've already given everything. What more could you possibly deserve to want? The desire for legacy is almost incomprehensible in medieval female terms. Men have names, properties, and titles to pass down. You have nothing that's truly yours. Your children bear your husband's name. Your work is credited to him. Your innovations die with you. You might want to be remembered, but for what? Suffering beautifully? Dying quietly? The only acceptable female legacies are cautionary tales. Be remembered as the woman who wanted too much and paid the price. Your desire to matter beyond your lifetime is impossible when you don't matter during it. You might scratch your name somewhere secret, embroider your initials where no one looks, or tell stories to daughters who'll forget them. The desire to be remembered is futile when your entire existence is designed to be forgettable. Let's say you're lucky enough to have one tiny desire fulfilled. Maybe you marry someone who doesn't beat you daily. Maybe you survive multiple childbirths. Maybe you learn to read. This small mercy makes you dangerous because it might make you want more. If one desire can be fulfilled, why not others? This is why even small kindnesses are regulated. Your husband might treat you well, but publicly must maintain dominance. You might have easier births, but must still perform proper suffering. You might read, but must hide your literacy. Any sign that female desires can be safely fulfilled threatens the entire structure. So even fulfilled desires must be hidden, minimized, or reframed as divine gifts rather than human rights. Your gratitude must be excessive, your humility extreme, your satisfaction performed as surprise. The marketplace of desire is where economics and criminalization intersect most visibly. You go to market, seeing things you want but can't have, fabrics you'll never wear, foods you'll never taste, tools that would ease your labor but cost more than you're worth. Your desire is visible here, documented by merchants who watch you looking. They know what women want because they see you wanting it. But you can't buy without your husband's permission. You can't sell without his presence. You can't even touch certain items because female hands contaminate male goods. Your desires become data for economic exploitation. Prices rise on things women need. Quality drops on things only women use. Your criminalized desires still generate profit, just not for you. You want to choose your children's futures? Your sons belong to the Lord for war or labor. Your daughters belong to future husbands you'll never meet. You watch your children inherit your suffering and want desperately to break the cycle. But breaking cycles requires power you don't have. You can't educate them differently because education is controlled. You can't protect them because protection requires authority. You can't even warn them because warning implies the system is wrong. Your maternal desires extend beyond your own body but remain equally criminal. Wanting better for your children is admitting current conditions aren't acceptable. That admission is treasonous. So you prepare them for suffering while dying inside each time you crush their spirits. Like yours was crushed, the desire for beauty in your environment is vanity multiplied. You want flowers that serve no purpose, decorations that feed no one, colors that don't come from dirt. These aesthetic desires prove female superficiality. Never mind that you're surrounded by ugliness that crushes souls. Never mind that beauty might make suffering bearable. Never mind that creating beauty is human impulse. Your desire to improve your surroundings is wasteful, frivolous, and probably pagan. Beautiful things lead to beautiful thoughts, which lead to desires for beautiful lives. Better to keep everything ugly, functional, and harsh. Your environment must remind you constantly of your place. Grey walls, brown clothes, black bread. The absence of beauty is intentional deprivation. Your desire for it is criminal, because beauty suggests life could be different. What about intellectual desires beyond literacy? You want to understand how things work. Philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, medicine. These fields are male territory, where female presence is contamination. Your questions are dismissed as curiosity, that feminine weakness. Your observations are ignored because women can't truly observe. Your theories are heretical because women can't theorize. The desire to understand your world is criminal because understanding leads to questioning. Why do stars move? Why do bodies work this way? Why do societies organize like this? Each question challenges established order. Your intellectual desires are more dangerous than physical ones because thoughts can't be chained. Once you start thinking, you might not stop. And thinking, women are the most criminal of all. The desire for respect from your own children is complicated by patriarchal structure. Your sons learn early that you're inferior. They watch their father dismiss you and learn to do the same. Your daughters see your submission and lose respect through familiarity. You want your children to value your sacrifices, acknowledge your wisdom, appreciate your love. But the system teaches them you're worthless, beyond your uterus. Your sons will grow to treat wives like you're treated. Your daughters will internalize your worthlessness. The desire for filial respect is impossible when the entire society teaches your children you don't deserve it. You raise them, feed them, sacrifice everything for them, and they learn to see you as servant rather than mother. This might be the cruelest criminalization, making your own children complicit in denying your humanity. You want to say no? To anything? No to sex, no to pregnancy, no to work, no to sacrifice. The word no from female lips is revolutionary. Your consent is assumed in all things. Marriage is permanent consent to sex. Birth is permanent consent to motherhood. Existence is permanent consent to suffering. The desire to refuse is the most fundamental crime, because refusal requires agency. You must have a self to say no, and you're not supposed to have a self. You're supposed to be an extension of male will. Fathers, then husbands, then sons. The word no implies you have opinions, preferences, and boundaries. These are male privileges. Your number is ignored, punished, or pathologized. You're not refusing. You're confused, hysterical, or possessed. Your desire to refuse is denied by denying your capacity to desire refusal. Let's examine the desire for fair treatment in illness. When you're sick, which is often because malnutrition and constant pregnancy destroy immune systems, you want care. But female illness is moral failing. You're sick because you're weak, sinful, or pretending. Male physicians won't examine female bodies because they're mysterious and disgusting. Female healers are suspected of witchcraft. You're caught between ignorance and suspicion. Your desire for medical care is seen as attention-seeking. Real women endure silently. Complaining about pain is weakness. Seeking relief is selfishness. You might be dying from treatable conditions, but seeking treatment requires admitting female bodies matter. They don't. Your suffering is expected. Your death is acceptable. Your desire for healing is criminal vanity. You die from preventable diseases because preventing female death isn't priority. The desire for emotional intimacy with your husband is laughable. Marriage isn't about connection. It's about contract. You want conversation. He talks to men. You want affection? That's what mistresses are for. You want partnership? You're property, not partner. Your emotional desires are so far into medieval marriage that they don't have words for them. You might occasionally glimpse tenderness, usually when he's drunk or dying. But sustained emotional intimacy requires seeing you as human, and the entire system depends on you being less than that. Your desire for emotional connection is criminalized as neediness, weakness, and female hysteria. Real women don't need emotional support, because real women don't have emotions worth supporting. Your loneliness in marriage is normal, expected, and probably your fault for wanting more. You want to trust other women? Female solidarity is systematically destroyed. You're taught to compete for male approval. She has more sons, better bread, and cleaner floors. She's your enemy, not your sister. Her success diminishes yours. Her beauty threatens yours. Her desires compete with yours. The system pits woman against woman because united women are dangerous. Your desire for sisterhood is betrayed by women who've internalized the system. They report your transgressions. They enforce male rules. They punish your desires more harshly than men do. This horizontal hostility is deliberately cultivated. Women policing women frees men to do other things. Your desire for female alliance is criminal because allied women might realize they outnumber their oppressors. The desire for death with dignity becomes relevant as you age. You've survived childbirth, disease, and violence. Now you're facing slow decline. You want to die in peace, but even death is gendered. Men die heroically in battle, or importantly in bed, surrounded by witnesses. You die quietly in corners, your death as invisible as your life. You want last rites, but the priest is busy. You want your children present, but they're working. You want your suffering acknowledged, but female suffering is too common to notice. Your final desires are as criminalized as your first ones. You can't even want death properly. Too eager, and you're suicidal. Too resistant, and you're defying God's will. Your last breath must be as submissive as your first obedience. What about wanting your daughters to read your story? You can't write it because you're illiterate. If you could write, you couldn't publish because you're female. If you could publish, no one would read it because female experiences don't matter. Your story dies with you, unrecorded, unremembered, unimportant. Your daughter will repeat your suffering without knowing you suffered identically. No generational wisdom passes down because female wisdom is considered oxymoron. Your desires, struggles, and small victories evaporate like morning dew. The desire for your story to matter is impossible when your life doesn't matter. You're one of millions of medieval women whose names, dreams, and desires are lost to history's selective memory. The desire for basic dignity in poverty is another impossibility. You're poor and female, double worthlessness. You want to cover your body adequately? Fabric is expensive. You want to feed your children sufficiently. Food is scarce. You want to work for fair wages? Female labor is nearly free. Your poverty is compounded by your gender. Poor men have few rights. Poor women have none. Your desires are dismissed as greed when they're actually survival needs. Wanting enough food to produce breast milk isn't greed, it's biology. Wanting shelter that doesn't leak isn't luxury, it's basic. But poor women, wanting anything beyond bare survival, is considered criminal entitlement. You should be grateful for scraps. Your desire for dignity in poverty is revolutionary, because it suggests poverty isn't deserved. Let's talk about the desire for cleanliness, because dirt isn't just physical in medieval times. You want to be clean, but cleanliness requires water, soap, time, and privacy, none of which you have. Your body accumulates layers of sweat, blood, and grime that become part of your identity. You smell like poverty, like childbirth, like labor. This marks you as lower class, available for exploitation. Clean women are suspicious. What are they washing off? Who are they cleaning up for? Your desire for cleanliness is read as sexual availability. But your dirtiness is also sexualized as earthiness. You can't win. Your body's state is always wrong, because your body itself is wrong. The desire to exist in a clean body is criminal, because it suggests you deserve comfort. You want to sing? Not hymns, but real songs about real feelings. Female voices should only praise God or soothe babies. Your songs about love, loss, or longing are dangerous. They might express desires. They might inspire others to desire. They might be spells disguised as songs. Your voice itself is regulated. Too loud is unwomanly. Too soft is seductive. Too emotional is hysterical. Too controlled is unnatural. You learn to modulate your voice to express nothing. Flat, monotone submission. The desire to sing freely is criminal, because free voices might speak freely, and free speech from female mouths is revolution. Your songs die in your throat, unexpressed, unheard, unrecorded. Centuries of female music lost because female expression was criminalized. The desire for acknowledgement of your labor is constant and constantly denied. You work from before dawn past dusk, but your work is invisible. Housework doesn't count as work. Child-rearing doesn't count as work. Emotional labor doesn't exist as concept. Your husband works outside and is paid. You work everywhere and are owned. Your desire for recognition is seen as attention-seeking. Good women work silently, invisibly, and gratefully. Wanting acknowledgement suggests your work is valuable, which suggests you're valuable, which challenges everything. Your exhaustion is moral failing. Strong women don't get tired. Your pain is weakness. Real women endure. Your desire for your labor to be seen is criminal, because visible female labor might demand compensation. You want to choose when you wake up? Your body's circadian rhythm is subordinated to everyone else's needs. The baby cries, you wake. Your husband wants sex, you wake. The animals need feeding, you wake. Your sleep is the least important in the household. You go to bed last and wake first. Chronic sleep deprivation becomes your normal state. You hallucinate from exhaustion, but must keep working. Your desire for rest is laziness. Sleep is for people who matter. You matter least, so you sleep least. The desire to control your own consciousness is revolutionary, because consciousness is where desire forms. Keep you exhausted, and you can't want anything beyond the next moment's survival. What about wanting to mourn properly? Your children die regularly. Your pregnancies miscarry frequently. Your friends die in childbirth constantly. But excessive mourning is self-indulgent. You're expected to accept death as God's will and move on quickly. Your grief is limited by social expectation. Too much crying and you're hysterical. Too little and you're unnatural. Your desire to process loss is seen as weakness. Strong women bury children and keep working. Your emotional needs are luxuries nobody can afford. The desire to grieve fully is criminal, because grief might become anger about preventable deaths, and anger leads to questioning why so many women and children die. And questioning leads to revolution. You want your pain believed. When you say something hurts, you're dismissed as dramatic. Women exaggerate pain for attention. Your broken bones are sprains until they're visibly deformed. Your infections are women's troubles until you're septic. Your labor pains are normal until you're dying. Medical care, such as it exists, is based on not believing female pain. Your desire for pain relief is moral weakness. Pain purifies, suffering sanctifies. Wanting less pain is wanting less holiness. Your agony is theological good. The desire for pain acknowledgement is criminal, because acknowledged pain requires treatment, and treating female pain suggests female suffering isn't divinely ordained. Let's examine wanting sexual pleasure without pregnancy. This desire is so criminal, it's barely conceivable. Sex is for procreation. Female pleasure is irrelevant at best, dangerous at worst. You might accidentally discover your body can feel good, but this knowledge is forbidden. Pleasure without pregnancy is theft of your husband's seed. It's rebellion against God's command to multiply. It's witchcraft, because only the devil would make bodies feel good without making babies. Your desire for pleasure is the gateway to all other sins. If you enjoy sex, you might seek it. If you seek it, you might choose partners. If you choose partners, the entire structure collapses. Your pleasure must be prevented, denied, and punished. The desire for consensual pleasure is the most criminal because it suggests sex could be about more than male satisfaction and reproduction. You want to understand your own body? Female anatomy is mystery, even to you. You don't know why you bleed monthly. You don't understand conception or pregnancy. Your body does things you can't explain, and no one will explain to you. Midwives have practical knowledge, but are forbidden from sharing it freely. Physicians have theoretical knowledge that's completely wrong. You're told your womb wanders, causing hysteria. You're told your humors are imbalanced, causing everything else. Your desire to understand your physical self is dangerous because knowledge is power. Understanding your body might lead to controlling it. And female body control is the ultimate crime. You die from ignorance about your own anatomy because female body knowledge is considered obscene. The desire for fair legal treatment is laughable when you're not legally a person. You can't testify against your husband. Your word is worth half a man's in court, if it's accepted at all. You can't inherit, own, or bequeath property in most places. You're legally closer to livestock than human. Your desire for justice requires personhood you don't have. When crimes are committed against you, they're actually committed against your male owner. Rape is property damage to your father or husband. Murder is loss of investment. Your desire for legal recognition is revolutionary because law shapes reality. If you're legally human, you might be treated as human. This desire is so dangerous that entire legal systems are built to prevent it. You want to travel to pilgrimage sites, the only acceptable female travel? Even this is complicated. You need permission, protection, and proof of purpose. Your desire for spiritual journey is suspected of being desire for freedom. Maybe you just want to leave. Maybe you want to see other places. Maybe you want temporary escape from your life. Pilgrimage becomes cover for all sorts of female desires. The church knows this and restricts accordingly. Too many pilgrimages and you're avoiding duties. Too enthusiastic and you're probably meeting a lover. Your spiritual desires are constantly interrogated for hidden secular wants. The desire for religious travel is criminalized because any female movement threatens stability. What about wanting to keep secrets? Privacy doesn't exist for medieval women. Your thoughts belong to your confessor. Your body belongs to your husband. Your labor belongs to your Lord. Having secrets means having self, and you're not supposed to have either. Your desires for private thoughts are suspicious. What are you hiding? Secret desires are doubly criminal, the desire itself and the secrecy about it. You might think private thoughts, but your face betrays you. You're watched for signs of hidden wants, a smile at wrong time, a frown during sermon, a glance at someone forbidden. Your desire for internal privacy is impossible when your external life is public property. Even your thoughts are criminalized, because private thoughts might be revolutionary thoughts. You want to die without pain? Medieval death is agonizing, and wanting it otherwise is weak. Death should hurt, because life hurt. Your desire for peaceful death is seen as avoiding final suffering that purifies souls. Pain in death proves you're feeling God's judgment. Too easy a death suggests suspicious virtue. Maybe you made a deal with devils. Maybe you're a witch whose master is calling her home. Your desire for painless death is criminal because it suggests suffering isn't necessary. If death doesn't have to hurt, maybe life doesn't either. This logic is revolutionary. Your final desire for mercy is denied because mercy might make people question why none was shown during life. The desire for your daughters to have choices you didn't is the most heartbreaking crime. You see her brightness and know it will be crushed. You hear her questions and know they'll be silenced. You watch her dream and know she'll be broken. Your desire to change her fate is futile. The system is bigger than your love. You can't protect her from becoming you. Your maternal desire for her freedom requires resources you don't have, power you can't access, and rights that don't exist. You want to tell her to run, but where? You want to teach her to fight, but how? You want to give her choices, but what choices? Your desire for her different future is criminal because it admits your present is unbearable. Let's discuss wanting to refuse motherhood entirely. Not just preventing pregnancy, but rejecting the entire role. You don't want children. You don't want to nurture. You don't want to sacrifice your body, your identity, your life for others. This desire is so criminal, it's barely nameable. Women who don't want children aren't women. They're aberrations, monsters, probably possessed. Your body was designed for childbearing. Refusing design is refusing designer. God made you to make babies. Saying no is telling God he's wrong. Your desire for childlessness is the ultimate rebellion against nature, society, and divinity. You might fake infertility, claim illness, or join a convent. Anything to avoid the inevitable pregnancies that define and destroy you. You want to be valued for your mind. Intelligence in women is suspicious and dangerous. Smart women ask questions. They notice inconsistencies. They might realize the system is constructed, not natural. Your desire to be recognized as intelligent is criminal, because intelligence suggests equality. If women are as smart as men, why are they property? This question can't be asked, so female intelligence can't be acknowledged. You hide your brightness, play dumb, and pretend confusion. Your mind atrophies from lack of use. The desire for intellectual recognition dies from starvation. You become what they say you are, simple, emotional, and inferior. Your intelligence becomes your secret shame rather than your public pride. The desire for political participation is so foreign. It doesn't have vocabulary. You can't vote because voting doesn't exist. But even if it did, you couldn't. You can't hold office, join guilds, or participate in any decision-making. Your political desires are limited to hoping your lord isn't too cruel and your king isn't too warlike. You have opinions about governance, but no venue to express them. Your insights about economy, justice, and society die unexpressed. Your desire for political voice is criminal because politics is power, and female power is apocalyptic. If women participated in governance, they might govern for women. This possibility is so threatening that women are excluded from even observing political processes. You want to create art that isn't functional? Decorative arts are acceptable if they're also useful. Embroidery on clothing, patterns in weaving, beauty in cooking. But art for art's sake? That's male privilege. Your desire to create purely for beauty or expression is wasteful female indulgence. Time spent creating non-functional art is time stolen from real work. Your aesthetic desires are criminal because they suggest inner life worth expressing. You might paint if no one sees, sing if no one hears, dance if no one watches. But public artistic expression is reserved for those whose expression matters. Yours doesn't. Your creative desires are crushed before they're born. What about wanting to choose your religion? You're born into faith, like you're born into servitude. Christian by default. Denomination by geography. Your spiritual desires are predetermined. You might feel drawn to different practices, different interpretations, different gods even. But religious choice is heresy, and heresy is death. Your desire for spiritual exploration is criminal because it suggests shopping for truth rather than accepting it. You might secretly hold different beliefs, practice different rituals, and pray to different powers. But publicly, you perform required faith. Your spiritual desires are colonized by mandatory religion. The desire for authentic faith is impossible when faith is enforced by violence. You want your contributions remembered. History is written by and about men. Your innovations in brewing, textile production, and medicine are attributed to nearest male. Your management of complex household economies is invisible. Your survival strategies are unrecorded. Your desire for historical recognition is impossible because history doesn't see you, your background in your own life. The desire for legacy is criminal because legacy requires importance, and important women threaten the narrative that women aren't important. Your contributions dissolve into anonymity. Centuries later, historians will say women did nothing because nothing you did was recorded as yours. The desire for physical strength is suspicious. Strong women might resist. They might fight back. They might work independently. Your muscles are kept weak through malnutrition and constant pregnancy. Hard labor paradoxically weakens rather than strengthens because you're never allowed recovery. Your desire for strength is seen as desire for masculinity. Strong women are unnatural, probably gay, definitely dangerous. You're supposed to be weak enough to need protection, but strong enough to work constantly. This impossible balance keeps you dependent. The desire for physical power is criminal because physical power might become political power. You want respect for your age and experience. Old women are burdens or witches, nothing between. Your accumulated wisdom is dismissed as old wives' tales. Your experience is irrelevant because times change, but women's worthlessness doesn't. Your desire for elder respect is criminal because respecting female age might mean respecting female knowledge. You've survived decades of childbirth, disease, and violence. You know things, but your knowledge is dangerous because it comes from living through the system's failures. Your desire for recognition as elder is denied because elders are supposed to be male. Old women are supposed to disappear, not demand respect. Let's examine wanting basic safety. You want to walk without fear of rape, sleep without fear of beating, exist without constant threat of violence. But female safety requires male protection, which requires male ownership. Your desire for autonomous safety is impossible. You're either owned and somewhat protected, or unowned and completely vulnerable. There's no safe space for uncontrolled women. Your desire for safety without ownership is revolutionary, because it suggests women could exist independently. This threatens every structure built on female dependence. Your safety desires are criminalized as unrealistic, unnatural, and unnecessary. You want to laugh at the absurdity of your situation? Humor is coping mechanism, but female humor is dangerous. Laughing at oppression diminishes its power. Making jokes about suffering makes it bearable. Your desire for humor is criminal because humor requires perspective, and perspective might reveal the system is ridiculous rather than righteous. You develop dark humor, shared in whispers with other women. Jokes about husbands, priests, and lords that would get you killed if overheard. Your laughter is rebellion disguised as submission. The desire for humor is criminal because laughter is harder to control than tears. The desire for female friendship without competition is systematically prevented. You're taught other women are threats to your survival. She might steal your husband. She might have easier births. She might be prettier, younger, and more submissive. Your desire for genuine connection is poisoned by manufactured scarcity. There's not enough male approval for all women, so you must compete. This horizontal violence keeps you from recognizing vertical oppression. Your desire for sisterhood is criminal because sisters might become army. United women are apocalyptic threat to patriarchal order. You want to trust your own judgment. Female intuition is simultaneously dismissed and feared. You're too emotional to make rational decisions, but also suspected of supernatural knowledge. Your desires for autonomy are undermined by constant gaslighting. You don't really want that. You're confused. You're hysterical. You need guidance. Your judgment is wrong before expressed. The desire to trust yourself is criminal because self-trust leads to self-determination. If you trust your judgment, you might act on it. If you act on it, you might succeed. If you succeed, it proves women can be trusted. This cannot be allowed. What about wanting to define your own worth? Your value is determined by virginity, fertility, and obedience. You want to be valued for intelligence, creativity, or strength. These aren't female currencies. Your desire to determine your own worth is revolutionary because it rejects the market that trades you. You're worth what men will pay for you. Dowry, if virgin. Bride price, if valuable. Nothing, if neither. Your desire for inherent worth is criminal because it suggests human value isn't gendered. If women have inherent worth, they can't be property. This logic destroys everything. You want your suffering to mean something? The church says it does. It purifies you, prepares you for heaven, makes you holy. But you know better. Your suffering is meaningless. It accomplishes nothing, changes nothing, helps no one. Your desire for meaningful suffering is heartbreaking because suffering is your primary experience. If it's meaningless, your life is meaningless. Your desire for purpose is criminal because purposeful women might demand purposeful lives. You're supposed to suffer silently, pointlessly, and gratefully. The desire for revenge against specific men who've harmed you burns constantly. Your father who sold you, your husband who beats you, your priest who condemns you, your lord who exploits you. You want them to suffer as you've suffered. Feel pain they've inflicted, experience powerlessness they've imposed. This desire for specific vengeance is the most criminal because it's the most focused. General anger can be dismissed as female hysteria. Specific revenge plans suggest competence. Your revenge fantasies become elaborate, but impossible. You lack resources, access, and allies. The desire remains, festering like infected wound that never heals. You want to scream? Just scream at the injustice, absurdity, and cruelty of your existence? But female screaming is madness, unless it's in childbirth. Your desire to vocally express your rage is pathologized. You're not angry, you're insane. Your screams are symptoms, not statements. They drug you, beat you, or lock you away rather than hear what you're screaming about. Your desire for primal expression is criminal because it's honest. Screaming women tell truth about their condition. This truth is intolerable. Your screams must be silenced, diagnosed, and dismissed. Let's talk about wanting to know what happens to your body after death. Will you be buried properly? Will anyone mourn? Will your grave be marked? These posthumous desires seem modest, but they're often denied. Poor women are buried in mass graves. Executed women are dumped in unhallowed ground. Your desire for dignified death treatment is criminal because it suggests you deserve dignity. Your body, worthless in life, remains worthless in death. Your desire for proper burial is seen as vanity. Dead women shouldn't want things, but you do want. You want to be remembered, named, mourned. These final desires are as criminal as your first ones. You want your story to matter. Every woman's story is the same story with minor variations. Born property, traded in marriage, bred until broken, died unmourned. Your individual desires, dreams, and experiences are erased by sameness of female fate. Your story doesn't matter, because no woman's story matters. Your desire for narrative significance is criminal, because significant women suggest women's stories are worth telling. They're not. They're background to real history, made by men. Your personal story dissolves into statistical anonymity. The desire for choice in appearance extends beyond clothing. You want to cut your hair? Cover it? Style it? Every choice is wrong, because choice itself is wrong. Short hair is masculine. Long hair is vain. Covered hair is hiding something. Uncovered hair is advertising. Your appearance desires are criminalized because appearance is communication, and you're not supposed to communicate autonomously. Your body must send only approved messages. Married, available, fertile, submissive, never individual, never chosen. Your desire to control your appearance is revolutionary because appearance is identity. And you're not supposed to have one. You want to understand why. Why this system? Why this suffering? Why you? These philosophical desires are the most dangerous because they lead to recognizing the system is constructed, not natural. It's chosen, not inevitable. It could be different. This realization is revolutionary. Your desire to understand causation is criminal because understanding might lead to changing. You're not supposed to ask why. You're supposed to accept. Your questioning is heresy, rebellion, and madness, all at once. The desire for explanation is denied because explanations reveal the arbitrariness of your oppression. What about wanting to help other women? Your empathy is weaponized against you. Help her, and you're neglecting your duties. Don't help her, and you're unnatural. Your desire for female solidarity is constantly frustrated by survival needs. You want to shelter the beaten wife, but your husband forbids it. You want to feed the starving widow, but you barely have enough for your own children. You want to warn the young bride, but speaking truth is social suicide. Your desire to ease other women's suffering conflicts with protecting yourself and your children. This forced complicity in other women's oppression is deliberate. Your desire to help is criminal because helping might become organizing. The desire for time alone with your thoughts is revolutionary. Solitude enables reflection. Reflection enables realization. Realization enables rebellion. You're never alone, because alone women think, and thinking women are dangerous. Your desire for mental privacy is criminal, because private thoughts can't be policed. You might realize your suffering is unnecessary. You might imagine alternatives. You might plan resistance. Your mind is the only space that could be truly yours, so it must be constantly invaded. Confession, interrogation, and observation ensure you never have mental privacy. Your desire for solitude is the most threatening, because it's where all other desires grow. You want your labor to end at death. Even dying, you're working, comforting others about your death, arranging your own funeral details, distributing your nothing to your family. Your last words must be appropriate. Your last breath must be instructive. Your death must serve others' needs. The desire to die without performing is impossible. Death is your final performance of feminine submission. You must die gratefully, peacefully, and quietly. Your desire for authentic death is criminal, because authentic death might include rage, refusal, and accusation. Your dying desires are as controlled as your living ones. Let's examine wanting basic human recognition, not special treatment, just acknowledgement that you're human, that you think, feel, and suffer, that your pain is real, that your desires are valid, that your life matters. This fundamental desire is the most criminal, because granting it would destroy everything. If women are fully human, everything done to them is crime. Every rape, beating, and forced pregnancy, every stolen child, broken dream, and crushed spirit. The entire system is criminal if women are human. So you can't be. Your desire for humanity is the ultimate crime against an order built on your subhumanity. You want future generations to know you existed. Your name will disappear. Your gravestone, if you get one, will crumble. Your children might remember you briefly, but their children won't know your name. You'll become wife of or mother of in genealogies, if mentioned at all. Your individual existence will evaporate into historical invisibility. Your desire for remembrance is criminal, because remembering individual women suggests individual women matter. You're supposed to be interchangeable breeding vessels, not unique humans with stories worth preserving. Your desire for historical presence is impossible when history is written by those who benefit from your absence. The desire for your pain to be believed extends beyond physical. Emotional pain is dismissed as female dramatics. Psychological pain doesn't exist because psychology doesn't exist. Spiritual pain is your fault for insufficient faith. Your suffering is constantly minimized, denied, and dismissed. You learn to hide pain because showing it brings more pain. Your desire for validation is criminal because validated pain demands response. If your suffering is real, it should be addressed. But addressing female suffering would require admitting its causes, the system itself. Your pain must remain unbelieved, because believed pain is political. You want to die on your own terms? Choose your moment? Control your exit? This final desire for autonomy is the ultimate crime. Your life never belonged to you, neither does your death. God decides when. Your body decides how. Your family decides where. You have no vote in your own ending. Suicide is ultimate sin, but your life is such suffering that death seems merciful. You're trapped between unbearable existence and forbidden exit. Your desire for death control is criminal because it's the last chance for choice, and choice was never yours. You die when discarded, not when decided. What about wanting pleasure without shame? Any pleasure, food, rest, sex, beauty, laughter. These small joys are poisoned by guilt. You shouldn't enjoy while others suffer. You shouldn't rest while work remains. You shouldn't pleasure while sin exists. Your desire for shameless pleasure is revolutionary, because shame is control mechanism. Shame keeps you small, quiet, and apologetic. Without shame, you might pursue pleasure actively. You might prioritize joy. You might live for yourself. This is apocalyptic thinking. Your desire for pleasure without shame is criminal, because shame is the chain that binds you. The desire to raise sons who respect women is impossible. The system will claim them. They'll learn masculinity requires your dehumanization. Your gentle boy will become another woman's brutal husband. Your desire to break the cycle through your children is futile, because the cycle is bigger than family. It's societal, religious, and economic. You can't raise feminist sons in patriarchal world. They'll either be destroyed for difference or destroy their difference to survive. Your desire for different sons is criminal, because different men threaten all men. You want your daughters to know they have options? What options? Every path leads to same destination: male ownership, marriage, convent, or brothel, wife, nun, or whore. These aren't choices. They're variations of imprisonment. Your desire to give daughters hope is cruel, because hope without possibility is torture. Better they accept early than struggle pointlessly. Your desire for their freedom is criminal, because it admits you're not free. This admission is intolerable. The fiction of female contentment must be maintained. Let's discuss wanting respect for your survival. You've survived decades of rape, pregnancy, violence, and labor. This survival is heroic, but it's not recognized as such. Male survival in battle is heroic. Female survival in life is expected. Your endurance is invisible, because acknowledging it would mean acknowledging what you've endured. Your desire for survival recognition is criminal, because it reframes female existence from natural to torture. If you're surviving rather than living, questions arise about why survival is necessary. You want to believe your suffering has purpose. The church offers purpose, purification for heaven. But heaven is another male fantasy where you'll serve eternally. Your suffering doesn't end at death. It transforms. You'll be someone's eternal servant, wife, or mother. Never yourself. Never free. Your desire for meaningful suffering is heartbreaking, because meaning would make it bearable. But your suffering is meaningless, pointless, cruelty justified by lies about natural order. Your desire for purpose is criminal, because purposeless suffering is evil, and evil systems must be destroyed. The desire for your body to belong to you is so revolutionary, it's barely conceivable. Your body is battlefield, where everyone else's needs are fought. Husband's pleasure, baby's nourishment, Lord's labor, church's control. Your body is resource, extracted until depleted. Your desire for bodily autonomy is the most criminal, because bodies are where oppression is enacted. If your body is yours, you might refuse its use. You might choose its purposes. You might claim its pleasures. This cannot be allowed. Your body must remain colonized territory. You want to grow old without becoming invisible? Young women are property. Old women are refuse. There's no dignified aging for females. You either die young and tragic, or live long and forgotten. Your desire for respected aging is criminal, because it suggests women have value beyond breeding. Post-menopausal women are supposed to disappear gracefully. Instead, you persist, demanding resources, space, and recognition. Your aged body is a reminder that women survive despite everything. This survival is threatening. Your desire for visible aging is revolutionary, because it insists on continued existence. What about wanting to choose your battles? You must fight everything simultaneously. Poverty, pregnancy, violence, disease, despair. You can't choose which struggles to prioritize, because they all attack constantly. Your desire for selective resistance is impossible, because resistance itself is criminal. You're supposed to accept all suffering equally. Choosing battles suggests some suffering is worse, which suggests ranking oppression, which suggests some oppression might be unnecessary. Your desire for strategic resistance is criminal, because any resistance is criminal. You want your emotions to be valid? Your anger is hysteria. Your sadness is weakness. Your joy is simplicity. Your fear is cowardice. Every emotion is wrong because you're feeling it. Your emotional desires are constantly invalidated. You're too emotional or not emotional enough. Too sensitive or too cold. Your desire for emotional validity is criminal because valid emotions require valid humanity. If your feelings matter, you matter. This logic destroys everything built on your not mattering. The desire for death to bring peace is uncertain. The church promises heaven, but describes eternal servitude. You might spend eternity washing angels' robes or singing endless praise, never resting, never free, never yourself. Death might be just another form of female labor. Your desire for peaceful death is criminal, because peace suggests rest, and rest is not for women, even dead ones. You'll serve in life, serve in death, and serve in afterlife. The desire for final rest is the most heartbreaking, because it's the most denied. You want to warn young girls? Tell them the truth? Prepare them honestly? This desire is forbidden, because truth would break them before life does. Better they discover gradually. Hope makes the early years bearable. Your desire to be honest is criminal, because honesty would reveal the system's cruelty. Young girls must believe in possibility of happiness, love, and choice. Otherwise, they might refuse to participate. Your desire to warn is silenced by complicity. You become recruiter for suffering. Awaits. Let's examine wanting recognition for emotional labor. You manage everyone's feelings. Soothe husband's ego. Calm children's fears. Navigate family dynamics. Absorb everyone's emotional waste. This labor is exhausting, but invisible. Your desire for recognition is criminal, because emotional labor isn't considered real work. It's considered female nature. Natural things don't deserve compensation. Your emotional exhaustion is personal failure. Strong women can absorb infinite emotional damage without breaking. Your desire for emotional support is selfish because you exist to provide it, not receive it. You want your daughters to hate you for the right reasons. They'll hate you for crushing their spirits, not understanding you're trying to save them. They'll hate you for teaching submission, not recognizing its survival strategy. Your desire for their understanding is impossible because understanding would require experiencing your life. You can't explain what can't be imagined. Your desire for maternal vindication is heartbreaking because you'll die villain in your own daughter's story. She'll swear to be different, not knowing she'll become you. The desire for language to describe your experiences doesn't exist. There are no words for marital rape because it's not rape, it's duty. No words for postpartum depression because it's not depression, it's female weakness. No words for domestic violence because it's not violence, it's discipline. Your experiences are literally unspeakable. Your desire for vocabulary is revolutionary because naming creates reality. If your suffering has names, it has existence. If it exists, it can be addressed. Your desire for language is criminal because language creates possibility for change. You want your sacrifices to matter? You've given everything, body, mind, dreams, and life. For what? Your children repeat your suffering. Your husband replaces you with younger model. Your work is forgotten moment you stop. Your sacrifices are meaningless because they were never choices. Forced sacrifice isn't noble. It's theft. Your desire for meaningful sacrifice is criminal because it suggests sacrifice should be voluntary. Voluntary sacrifice requires agency you don't have. Your sacrifices are extractions, not offerings. What about wanting to stop pretending? Stop smiling while dying inside. Stop agreeing while disagreeing. Stop submitting while seething. Stop performing contentment while desperate. The performance is exhausting, but stopping is dangerous. Your true feelings would terrify everyone, including yourself. Your desire for authenticity is criminal because authentic women are angry women, and angry women are dangerous women. Your entire life is performance of satisfaction with unsatisfactory existence. The desire to stop performing is desire to start living. And living is not for you. You want justice for specific crimes? That rape when you were 12? That beating that broke ribs? That pregnancy that nearly killed you? That theft of inheritance? These specific violations demand specific justice you'll never receive. Your desire for accountability is criminal because accountability would indict every man you know. Your father, husband, brothers, and sons, all complicit, all criminal if justice existed. But justice doesn't exist for crimes against property, and your property. Your desire for justice is screaming into void that swallows sound. The desire for your story to be believed is constantly frustrated. When you tell truth, you're exaggerating. When you show wounds, you're seeking attention. When you list grievances, you're bitter. Your testimony is dismissed before given. Your desire for credibility is criminal because credible women are dangerous witnesses. Your truth indicts everyone. Your desire to be believed is revolutionary because believed women can't be dismissed. Your story must remain unbelieved because believed stories demand response. You want to kill your rapist? Not metaphorically, literally. End his life as he ended yours in different way. This specific murderous desire is the most criminal thought possible. Women don't kill men. It upsets natural order where men kill women. Your homicidal desires are so forbidden They can't be spoken even in confession. You might poison slowly, push accidentally, curse quietly. But probably, you'll do nothing except carry the murder in your heart like secret treasure. The desire for lethal revenge is criminal because it's the only justice available. And you're not allowed any justice. Let's talk about wanting community with other suffering women. You're all drowning separately in same ocean. You want to link arms, share strategies, and maybe survive together. But community requires communication, and female communication is controlled. Your desire for solidarity is systematically prevented. You're kept suspicious of each other, competing for scraps, enforcing each other's oppression. Your desire for sisterhood is criminal because sisters might become army. The desire for female community is revolutionary because community creates power. You want your experience validated by other women? When you whisper your pain, you want them to say, "Me too," not, "It could be worse." But they can't validate what they're also denying in themselves. Everyone pretends their suffering is unique, deserved, or manageable. Your desire for validation is frustrated by collective denial. If one woman admits the horror, all must. Your desire for shared recognition is criminal because recognition leads to organization. Organized women are apocalyptic threat. The desire to feel safe in your own home is impossible. Home is where most violence happens, where rape is legal, where beatings are discipline, where murder is accident. Your desire for domestic safety is oxymoron. Domestic is where danger lives. Your home is prison, where your guard is your rapist. Your desire for sanctuary is criminal because it suggests you deserve safety. Safety is earned through perfect submission you can never achieve. Your desire for safe space is revolutionary because it requires reimagining everything. You want your daughters to know love exists, real love, not ownership, disguised as affection. But showing them love would require admitting you don't have it. Your marriage isn't love. Your life isn't love. Love might not exist for women at all. Your desire to give them hope is cruel because false hope hurts worse than honest despair. But you can't tell them truth because truth would break them before life does. Your desire for their romantic happiness is criminal because it admits your romantic misery. What about wanting pleasure from food? Not just sustenance, but actual enjoyment, flavor, texture, and temperature that pleases rather than merely fills. Your desire for culinary pleasure is criminal because pleasure itself is criminal. You cook elaborate meals you don't eat. Watch others devour while you gnaw scraps. Your hunger isn't just physical, it's sensual deprivation. Your desire for food pleasure is revolutionary because it suggests you deserve pleasure. Any pleasure, even small ones. This cannot be allowed. The desire for medical care that doesn't blame you for being female is impossible. Every ailment is traced to your womb, your weakness, your womanliness. Your desire for legitimate medical treatment is criminal because it suggests female bodies are valuable enough to heal properly. Instead, you get superstition, prejudice, and solutions worse than problems. Your medical desires are denied because healing you properly would admit you matter enough to heal. You want to dance? Move your body for joy rather than labor? Feel music in your bones rather than aches? Dancing is dangerous for women. It suggests rhythm, passion, and control of your own body. Your desire to dance is sexual, even when it's not. It's provocative, even when alone. It's criminal, because moving freely might lead to thinking freely. Your body must move only in prescribed patterns: work, worship, and submission. Never celebration, never expression, never joy. The desire for your pain to end without death seems impossible. You can't imagine life without suffering, because suffering is all you've known. Your desire for living without pain is so foreign, it doesn't have shape. What would you do without constant agony? Who would you be without perpetual endurance? Your desire for painless existence is criminal, because it suggests pain isn't necessary. If your pain isn't necessary, it's cruelty. If it's cruelty, someone is responsible. Let's examine wanting to trust your body that bleeds, births, and breaks, that betrays you with fertility and failure, that hurts constantly and heals slowly. Your desire to trust your body is complicated by its compliance in your oppression. It gets pregnant when you don't want. It fails to conceive when you need. It ages, weakens, and disappoints. Your desire for body trust is criminal, because trusting your body means claiming it. And claiming your body is revolution. You want tomorrow to be different from today, but tomorrow will be exactly like today. Same work, same pain, same oppression. Your desire for change is constant and constantly denied. Nothing changes except you get older, weaker, and more broken. Your desire for different future is criminal, because it suggests futures can be different. If futures can be different, suffering isn't inevitable. If suffering isn't inevitable, it's chosen. If it's chosen, it can be unchosen. The desire to rest without guilt is impossible. There's always more work, always someone needing something, always duty undone. Your desire for guilt-free rest is criminal, because guilt is control mechanism. It keeps you working past exhaustion. Your body might rest, but your mind catalogues failures, things you didn't do, people you didn't serve, duties you didn't complete. Your desire for true rest is revolutionary, because rested women might have energy to resist. You want your suffering to inspire rage rather than pity. When people hear your story, you want them angry, not sad. You want revolution, not sympathy. Your desire for productive anger is criminal, because anger leads to action. Pity leads nowhere. Your suffering is repackaged as tragedy rather than injustice. Your desire for rage is denied, because rage demands change, and change threatens everything. What about wanting to see your daughters strong, not broken like you, not submissive like required, but strong, defiant, and unbreakable? This desire is impossible, because strength in women is criminalized. You watch their strength being systematically destroyed and can't stop it. Your desire for their power is heartbreaking, because you know power is exactly what they can't have. You want them to fight, but no fighting leads to worse punishment. The desire for death with dignity becomes urgent as body fails. You've lost teeth, hair, and continence. Your body is map of violence survived. You want to die as person, not thing. But personhood was never yours. Your desire for dignified death is criminal, because it suggests you deserve dignity. You don't. You never did. Your death will be as undignified as your life. Final insult to injury. That was existence. You want your name spoken after death? Not wife of or mother of, but your actual name. This simple desire is revolutionary because names indicate individuality. You're supposed to be category, not person. Your desire for named remembrance is criminal because it suggests individual women matter. They don't. They're interchangeable units of production and reproduction. Let's talk about wanting to understand male hatred. Why do they despise what they desire? Fear what they need? Destroy what creates them? Your desire to understand is frustrated by illogic of misogyny. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't need to. Power doesn't require logic. Your desire for explanation is criminal because explaining hatred might reveal its artificiality. Hatred isn't natural. It's taught. If it's taught, it can be untaught. The desire for your daughters to never know your pain is your deepest wish and greatest fear. If they don't know your pain, they can't understand you. If they do know it, they're living it. Your desire to protect them from your experience requires hiding your experience. You become stranger to protect them from truth. Your desire for their ignorance of suffering is impossible because suffering is female birthright. You want to believe God loves you, but everything suggests otherwise. Your suffering is divine will. Your oppression is holy order. Your pain is sacred plan. Your desire for divine love is complicated by divine cruelty. If God loves you, why this? If God doesn't, why worship? Your spiritual desires are criminal because they question divine justice. If divine justice produces this injustice, what is God? The desire for painless death becomes obsession as end approaches. You've suffered enough for multiple lifetimes. Can't death at least be gentle? But gentleness was never for you. Your desire for merciful ending is criminal because mercy suggests deservingness. You deserve what you get. You get what you deserve. Your final desire for peace is denied, like all others. What about wanting your story to matter to someone, anyone? Just one person who understands, remembers, and cares. Your desire for witness is heartbreaking because witnesses are overwhelmed by scale of suffering. Every woman's story is tragedy. Yours is drop in ocean of female pain. Your desire for individual significance is impossible when suffering is universal. You want to stop fighting, just surrender completely. Stop resisting, wanting, and hoping. But complete surrender is death, and you're somehow still alive. Your desire to quit is frustrated by body that keeps breathing, heart that keeps beating, mind that keeps thinking. Your desire for ending is denied by biology that insists on continuing. The desire for your life to have mattered is final cruelty. It didn't matter. You were one of millions living identical suffering. Your individual pain added nothing to universal female agony. Your desire for significance is criminal because significant women threaten narrative of female insignificance. Let's end where we began, with desire itself being crime. You wanted things, safety, dignity, and choice, love, respect, and peace. These simple human desires were criminalized because you were female. Your wants were sins. Your needs were weakness. Your dreams were heresy. You lived entire life being punished for wanting life worth living. And so you die, surrounded by same nothing you lived with, your desires dying with you, uncounted and unmourned. Another medieval woman, disappearing into historical silence. Your suffering added to statistical mountain of female pain. Your story ending, like all others, unheard, unrecorded, and unremembered. Wanting was your crime. Being born female was your sentence. And death, when it finally comes, is less ending than escape from lifetime of criminalized desire.